What's up, bro? How you doing today?
What up, man? Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, can you let the people know your name and then your alias name?
Yeah, well, it's the same.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
Yeah, my name is Rhyan Besco. I go by Rhyan Besco. You might know me as like River Boy. You might know me as Big Besco. A lot of people call me that. Yeah, it's same thing. You call me Rye, if you're friendly.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the music you make. What's your genre?
Yeah.
And also, you know what? Let me go back a little bit. Mm-hmm. What are you bumping nowadays?
Like, what am I listening to?
Yep.
Man, I honestly, a lot of country. I know that's crazy. I'm listening to a lot of country. I love Bailey Zimmerman. Like, I think he's like just so good. Like, I don't even think he's really like found his like groove yet, but like all the stuff that he's like releasing is just like really good. But like once he gets into that like, swing of like the Morgan Wallen releases where it's like 30 tracks on an album or something like that, like, dude, I just think he's dope.
What do you think about Post Malone getting in the country right now?
I think it's just like everybody is like doing it, which is cool. He's from Texas, so like whatever. Like he's a good genre blender. He goes from like hip hop to like pop to trap to country. Yeah. If you can do it, do it. I love like any type of like body crossing over to genres. I mean, like if you make great music, do it. You know what I mean? Like I think there's like customs that you gotta go through to do it, but you should do it.
Yeah,
if you're good at it.
I mean, one of the most drastic ones right now is like Beyonce.
Right.
That came out of nowhere.
Right. Cowboy Carter.
But it's so good.
It's so good.
It's so like she released the first one. What was it?
Renaissance.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, dude, she made a whole album.
Right.
This is all I'm listening to for the summer. And then I didn't know. Like, did you know that? Well, was it announced when she first released that first song and it blew up on TikTok? Right. Did you know she was doing another album, or did she announce that she was doing a full album?
It was kind of like hinted. She called it Act 1. So they're like, oh, Act 1, there must be, the genres of which we're going to come after. Like no one really knew. But like everyone was kind of speculating that it was going to be like a full country album, a full rock album, maybe like whatever, a full R&B. But like I saw the speculation of like something, like, man, like Beyonce, she just, hit it on the head with it. She's so good with it. But she's from Texas, so it makes sense.
Bro, she took over TikTok for like a whole month.
Oh yeah, the challenge that she did.
What?
From that?
It was man, I know y'all yelling at us in the comment section.
Cuff it.
Yeah.
The Cuff It challenge.
Yeah. Have you had much success with TikTok yet in your music? Or have you jumped on there at all?
Right, like not with my music, but songs that I've written for other people. I've seen like have a moment on TikTok, which I thought was pretty cool. I did this record called Voice Memo Number 5 by this artist named Chinmina, and like she's a J-pop artist, so like Japan pop. And so I saw it like take off over there, and I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. So not anything with me, and I've had some like viral clips with like my song on it, but like, I don't know, it just TikTok, man. It's a weird jungle, and everyone always like, oh man, you would do great on TikTok. Yeah. But I don't know. I haven't cracked that formula. I'm so much better in person than I am like holding a camera and talking to it. I haven't cracked that recipe yet, but you do 100%. It really well too. I was watching your stuff.
I appreciate it.
It's such a natural with it, So I'm like, eventually I want to get that good where I can just turn on the camera and just have a conversation with it. But yeah, right now it's not looking.
Well, everybody expresses themselves differently when it comes to, especially art. Like for me, being in front of the camera and just talking is the way I like to express myself. But for some people, it's through music. Right. Like you think like, oh, how can I be artistic in this song? And you're like, step back and you're like, oh, wait, this is art overall. So I can just be me. And that is like the product itself. And some people it's like painting, and all these other different things. And so, but I think it's hard to, at a young age, to identify what that is specifically. Did you find other avenues that you were experimenting with at a young age other than music that you were trying to just figure out your creative abilities?
Yeah, I think photography. I was really into that, taking pictures for a while, which I still am, but I was doing so much. Like, I love the editing part of photography.
Okay.
Color corrections and like photoshopping out blemishes and like all that stuff. Like, I was really like interested in that because like I would see these finished photos and then like I would look at the raw photo and I'd be like, whoa, this isn't, people are doing some type of magic in there. So then I started learning about LUTs, like LUTs, like the, all those like, photo filters and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, this is really cool. So I was doing that while doing the music as like a hobby when music would get too, I don't know, crowded for me. Like it would just like take a lot of mental space and I'd be like, okay, I need something to do. So I would just pick up the camera. So I was doing that for a cool minute, but I don't do it as much, but like I still like know my way around the camera a little bit.
Yeah. When was the first time you thought music and you started like pursuing that? What age were you? And then what kind of like started that spark for you?
Right. Man, I think when I was really, really young, like 6, I like had this like thing of like music. Like I remember that. And then I took it like serious at 12. I like had this like weird like premonition of like, you're an artist, like you're going to be in music, like this is your calling. And I was like, okay. And like, that's what I'm going to do. I pursued it. And I think it also comes from like, I don't know, my family is really big in music. They're like, it's grew up around the house, but like, it's weird. My mom wasn't into music like that, but like everybody around our family was. So like, my grandma and like all her siblings and like they're really like, especially in the gospel music.
Okay.
So it was like, I just heard it. And also I grew up in the church as well. And like I would get music from there. And then I'm just like, oh yeah, like music is it. Like this is like no better feeling than like, writing a song and like performing it and singing it and like, that type of thing. So I was like, this is what I have to do,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of what it was at 12. And then,
saying that reminds me of Chance's style of music, like how he's incorporated gospel. Like even like those different strings that he goes on and he sings and harmonizes. You're like, dude, that's gospel. So like good. That's gospel verbiage right there. Yeah. And so he's incorporated that. So I wonder, like, I'm sure, if I go back and find some interviews, I bet he would probably say some of the same stuff.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, just being around church. Actually, honestly, that's probably most people's first time coming in contact with live, like music.
Yeah, I would agree.
Especially like if you're growing up like not in a not very like wealthy household or wealthy town where you don't have concerts just readily available, or if you do have concerts readily available but you're not able to go to them. Like probably church is the only place that you experience it. I never thought about that.
No, now that you said that too, that's definitely the first time I experienced live music was definitely at church. Yeah.
For me too, for sure. Like no question about it. And you're from here, right?
Yeah, Fort Smith. Yeah.
Okay.
I went to St. James Missionary Baptist Church, Reverend Gary L. Hinkle, R.I.P. But like, that was the first time I like saw music live, and like it just always like it was just amazing. It was just literally amazing, and that definitely put the spark. And Chance's music is also like so good. The Coloring Book, Acid Rap, dude, those are eras.
Don't even get me started.
No,
don't even get me. And there's nothing like it. There's no one else who's doing that style of it. And it's just honestly cool too to kind of watch these guys. I'm thinking about him and like people like Justin Bieber, like develop their art, but also like have some type of relationship with their faith still intact. They're not just using the church as a stepping stool for that music platform that they found within those different areas, but they're like, man, let me incorporate some of this into my music, but I'm not preaching. Like I'm just being myself, and this is part of myself, so let me create. I don't know, it's interesting to me.
Yeah, and like I know like eventually I'll like hit that like stride with it too. It's like, growing up in it, I kept it so separate because my mom was like super strict about it. So like I couldn't like necessarily like blend it in that way. It was just kind of like, this is gospel music and everything else is secular. Everything else, like, and don't you dare. Like,
thing. What do your parents think? Because obviously that's you hear about Yeah. Oh, my kid wants to be a musician.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It was, especially when I said I was moving to LA, it was like, oh, you're going to hell.
Oh man.
in a nice way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like not
yeah.
like on some like real stuff, but it was just like, oh, like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Like, and like, I think when I said it the first time, everyone thought that I was joking, which is like the weirdest, like, observation, because I'm never joking. Like,
okay.
I'm like serious. Like, I'm going to LA, and like, if I say I'm going to do something, like, I'm going to do it. But I was like, okay, like next year in March, I'm leaving and I'm going to California. And they're like, all right, and then like January rolls around and they're like, are you really still? And I'm like, yep. And then March rolls around and they see me packing down and they're like, wait, are you real? And I'm like, yep. And they're like, you don't know anyone. I'm like, yeah, I know. I know no one. I know nothing. And they're like, what are you going to do? Like, but they didn't know I had a plan. I had a 2-week plan. It was like.
Wait, what year was this?
2016 is when I moved to LA, like right out of high school. I was like, okay.
And how old are you?
27 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, when I did it, it was like, I had a 2-week plan, and I was like, in 2 weeks, I need to find a job, find an apartment, and make one music connection. And if I can do that, then like I'll stay. And if I can't, I'll go back home and I'll try it again. And that was like my mentality. And like the first week I was there, I made a music connection. Okay, cool. Like in that same first week, I got a job. I'm like, okay, cool. And I was staying at an Airbnb back when it was like unknown and it was like really cheap, and like I had heard about it through the grapevine, and so like it was like cheaper than staying in a hotel, but now you might as well stay in a hotel. But
especially in California.
And then my last day is when I finally got my apartment. Like the last day I was supposed to be in LA, the last day I was supposed to be at the Airbnb, and I finally got the apartment on that Friday, and they're like, it'll be ready on Monday. And I was like, so then I had to stay in a hotel that Saturday and Sunday and then move into the place. And then like, yeah, that was literally it. And I was like, okay, all right, I'm here. Like, let's do it.
Okay. And so you don't only make your own music, but you produce and write for others, right? Can you kind of give me like a landscape of all the different, I don't know, kind of tools that you have in your tool belt when it comes to music?
Yeah, everything. I produce, I songwrite. I have my alarm going off. I literally just said...
No, you're good.
I literally just said airplane mode. And like, it's on airplane mode, but I guess alarms...
You know what? I was watching an interview. This is funny because it ties in. Last night, I was watching an interview of Billie Eilish, and she was doing one of those YouTube shows, and they had her... calling celebrities.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she called the lady, I forgot her name, but she's the
Margot
one.
Robbie?
Yes.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't know how your call came through. My phone's on airplane mode because I'm on set right now. So that made me think of that.
Yeah, no, literally.
Yeah. And she was in LA, so there's another connection to the story.
Makes sense.
But yeah, so you were telling me everything that you do when it comes to music. Yeah.
So production, songwriting. I call myself, like a lot of songwriters do, we're kind of like unofficial therapists, because like we'll go in with an artist and they'll just tell us about their day or tell us like what's been going on, and then we turn it into a 3-minute song. And like
that's crazy.
And it's just kind of like one of those things. Like my job was like as a vessel to like be that and let you articulate what you want to say into a musical pattern, and then be like, okay, cool. And then hopefully it takes off for you, and then you come back and get more.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so in what area have you found the most success? And I mean, and I would say based off of, give me 2 versions, because everybody has something that they're super happy about, but then you also know what everyone else is excited about that you've been a part of. So what areas have you been the most successful in, and what are those successes for you personally? What are those successes? What's the other success that other people see you successful in?
Right. I think on paper, I'm definitely way more successful as a songwriter than I am as an artist. And I think when I moved to LA to be an artist, the songwriting thing kind of fell in my lap. And I didn't expect it. Like, I knew I could do it, but I was just like, I want to be an artist. And the only thing that was just kind of opening up was like the songwriting doors, and they just kept opening and opening and opening. And I was like, okay, like, I guess I can get here faster by being a songwriter than I would be just like trying to be an artist, which is like 100% true, especially when you're in a big city like LA. They already have their teams. So like an artist needs a team. And then like when you go out there, like everybody already has a team. So you're much better like playing for someone's team than trying to start your own. So I was like, okay, I can just be a songwriter part of all these teams because every team needs a songwriter. You know, every artist is, writing. And then 2019 is when I first got signed. But like 2017, 2018, I was doing like sessions like every single day, like multiple sessions a day. Sometimes I think the most I did was like 5 in like one day. Dang. Like going like from one place to another place to another place and just writing like 4 songs at one, like 7 at another one, like multiple songs are being made. And like, it's a crazy type of schedule, but like, that's like the grind of a songwriter. And, so I wrote this song called Phases by this boy band named Pretty Much. And that was kind of like go time, which I never told this story, which is like, this is going to be like, some tea. The label, like, did not know who I was, but I was already making my way in the songwriting world. So I had a meeting with a publishing company and they were like, who do you want to put together in this session? I said, there's this boy band called Pretty Much that I really want to work with. And you guys have signed the producers that I want to put in that session. Can you make that happen for me? And they're like, yeah, we could do that. So they reached out to all the parties. Everybody knew each other except me. Like they like all the managers and all the, powers that be, they all knew each other. And they're like, who put this together? Like this Rhyan kid, And it was like a weird like thing. But anyway, so I got to realize like what it's like on that side very quickly because their label was like, they need a hit. And if they don't get a hit, they're going to get dropped. And I was like, whoa, like, why would you say that? Like, and that type of thing. And I was friends with the boy band members and I wanted to tell them like, yo, this is what your label just said, dog. And then I got a quick, like, stern talking to from the producers. And they were just kind of like, hey, you don't do that. Like, if they're your friends and like, if they're really your friends, the best way you can help them is give them a hit. And I was like, you're right. You know what I mean? Because like, what am I going to do? I go tell them, they get mad, they don't come to the session, now everything's like, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, damn, you're right. Like I was thinking too emotional about it instead of just being like a business. Because I just thought it was like weird and shady. Like I feel like, labels should be wanting to pat them on the back and try to help them. You know what I mean? And they're just like, yeah, if they didn't get their hit, they getting dropped. And I'm just kind of like, damn, like that's like so harsh, So he said the best way, if you really want to help them, is give them a hit. And we went in there and we wrote Phases. And I'm like, hey, this is a hit. Like they got it. And like it was their biggest record. And like they literally like took off with it, had all the momentum they needed. And like that is when I knew. I'm like, this is like a calling. Like I can do this. Like, And I did that. I put together that session before I even got signed. So that was kind of like the catalyst that had the deal coming and stuff like that. So it was really cool.
What numbers did that do?
Over like 100 million streams. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, I think it's like, I don't even know. Like, I think that's just on Spotify. Like, it has over 100 million streams on Spotify. It's gold, like certified gold record.
That's crazy. And did they end up doing a music video?
Yeah, they did the music video.
I'm gonna go look up the results and put that on screen to see the views that it did. Because the music videos go crazy on YouTube.
Yeah, and the awesome thing about it, they'll tell you it was organic. Like there was no machine behind that record. Like that was the real fans having like real connection to that record. And it just did so well for like everybody. I think everybody got, even the other writers that were like a part of that, like everybody got a moment from it and it was just a really good look. And I just, to be that, again, being that vessel for like people to have that, I was like, dude, this is awesome. Like, I'm glad I moved here. Like, this is like what I'm here to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was just like a really solid moment for me. And like, I think, those type of moments is why more people would know me as a songwriter than they would as an artist.
Yeah.
But my personal favorite achievements and like the things that I like look at is I was also able to do a clothing collection with the brand Champion.
Yeah.
And that was like for Rhyan Besco, the artist. Like that wasn't no songwriter stuff. It was just like, yo, he's a artist that we like and we want to host him for his like release party, and we want to give him like permission to do our collection with him. And I'm like, that was in LA, and I'm like, okay, this is again like some cool stuff that's happening. And for me personally, like things like that was what I'm looking for, you know, and like I want to be an artist, and I definitely were giving my energy to being a songwriter for the most part since like 2016, but like definitely from 2019 up until 2023 recently. I was just like, I'm a songwriter and I do artistry on the side. And it just wasn't fulfilling at the end of the day, because I knew my calling was to be an artist, and I felt like I was just helping a lot, and it just wasn't what I thought it was, you know?
Yeah. Two things on that. One, going back to Songwriter, you were saying it's easier to join a team than to start a new one. With the uprise of TikTok a couple of years ago coming out, I mean, we begin to see some of the people who are actually the songwriters behind huge songs. Their names aren't anywhere to be found. One of them I can think of was like Charlie Puth. You know, he had been creating his own music for a very long time, and it wasn't like, maybe he had gotten a lot of hits or whatever, but most people didn't know about him like we do today. And then he starts creating some songs that get a little bit of traction because he's creating, I felt like he was creating them specifically for social media. So like, you know, to be added as sounds for reals. And then he finally comes out, he's like, yeah, I'm a songwriter and I've been doing this for years and I haven't really talked about it. But like, yeah, I mean, this popular song by Justin Bieber, I wrote that. This song, I wrote that. And you're like, what? He's like, yeah, I wrote all these. And so for him, I believe he was saying basically when he comes to the art, his label with some of these ideas, they were like, oh, what if we put this person on? What do you think of this song instead of maybe you doing it? And that's, I think, how he maybe got his songwriting career. Don't hold me solid on that. But two, the other thing that I wanted to ask you is, how do those deals typically work out when you're writing for someone? Is this already like decided what the outcome is going to be before the song even released? Like before you go into the writing session, how does that even work? What's the deal with that?
Oh man, it really depends on the artist really, and like their situation with their label. In a perfect world, Nashville kind of coined the phrase of like Nashville terms, and that means like everybody gets equal split of the song. Like, you know, however many people are writing on it, we're just all gonna split it down the middle. Like everybody gets an equal share. Like back in the day though, man, you had to like, you know, fight for your percentage, because like sometimes people will, you know, get in there and they'll be like, you didn't do this much, or like they'll try to act like you didn't do that much. So then they'll try to like cut your piece down, you know, and like, you know, but if the artist is like a really big artist and they want their cut of it, then they would take the lion's share, which then their label would take the lion's share, and then you just kind of get the scraps of it. It just really depends on like who you're writing with, who are you signed to, like how much leverage you have, and, you know, things that every songwriter has a different situation. It's never like really the same. It should be like equal, you know, like everybody just in here that's writing on it, let's just do it equal. But it just really depends now, like who you like are with and like what's going on in the situation.
Okay, so let's talk about your brand. What is a genre of music that you make? Yeah. And then let's talk about how many songs or albums you put out, if you can keep count.
Yeah. Oh man. So I started off like definitely as a rapper, and I wasn't doing any like singing. I was just like rapping. Okay. And I was writing these hooks, and I would have like my friends sing the hooks. Like I would just, dude, there's so much talent in like just small towns, you know? And like, so when I was writing these songs that I was like, they need to be sung, I'm like, man, wait, my friend over here, oh, you can kind of carry a tune, bro. Like, get in here and like, you know, do this, you know? Yeah. So I was doing that for like a while.
Wait, that's interesting though, because like, I just can't imagine just like hanging out with my homies and I'm like, wait, can you sing for me, bro?
Right. Like, that's literally what it was.
Yeah. Like, and they're like, wait, what? Like, you want me to sing for you? Yeah. That's how I would imagine the response to be. Is that what it was?
No, it was kind of like, Ryan needs me to sing. All right, I'm going to go sing. You know, like that's kind of, and like, I just.
So they were down. They were pretty.
Yeah. I had a way with words. I was just kind of like hey, bro, you can do whatever you put your mind to. Hey, I know you haven't sung anywhere publicly since you were born. And I just heard you singing this one little riff in the car. But I'm telling you, if you get in a booth right now and you lock in, bro, you'll be bigger than Justin Bieber. That type of thing. And they're kind of like, bet, like, let's do it.
And then get in there, and then you got to slide up that auto-tune.
Right. Well, this is before we had plugins. So, I had no plugins. I knew nothing about mixing. So, it's just dry vocals and some reverb. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's
but it worked. It worked, yeah.
And I had done this album called RHX, and I featured nothing but my, like, friends. It was just like... One friend was singing, one friend was singing, one friend was rapping, and I'm like, hey, y'all got this. Like, you know, this is like really cool. My friend Mackenzie Gordon, she so dope, and we met in school, and she had already like did her thing with like America's Got Talent, and so like, but she was like, I'm done with music, like I'm never doing music again. Like she's like, Ryan, you had no idea, like I hated it. I was like, all right, you know. Or you could like hop on this record and like, you know, we could do this music. And
I'll make sure you give you your cut.
Right. So we ended up hanging out a lot. And I never was like pushing the music on her. It was just like I would be working on music. Like, what are you doing? I'm like working on music. And then just be working on music all the time. And she saw it. She's like, oh wow, like you really take this serious. I'm like, yeah. She goes, all right, I got this song. And I'm like, oh, you got a song? Okay. Like, okay. And then we would just be writing songs together. Like some of the songs that we wrote, like never even got recorded, but like I still got voice memos of them. Like we just wrote. And then one day I was like, hey, I'm working on this album and like we should do some songs together. She's like, oh, I know. I already got this hook for you. And I'm like, oh, come on, you know? So like, so we did like, I want to say like 3 songs. On that album, maybe two or 3, and she was doing backgrounds for me on stuff. But like, nah, she's like, that's how it was. Like, I would just see a friend, like one of my friends, he was a football player, like no business in the studio, but like I heard him at a choir recital, and I'm like, hey, bro, you got it. You can carry a tune, dog. I need this hook from you. You know? And he was like, all right, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm like, hey, just sing this exactly how I sang it, and you'll be fine. And then he was like, all right, but that's literally what it was. Like, we were friends. And I heard, like, if we were hanging out and the song came on and you hit a little note, I'd be like, oh, what you gonna do with that? Let's go in the booth, man. I need this hook, bro. I need this hook. And this is kind of how I've been, like, you know.
So it started off with rap, then it kind of like maybe transitioned to more R&B?
Yeah, because I always wanted to sing. So the problem with like having other people sing your hooks is like when you perform it live, it's like, you know, I got to kind of stand there because, like, I can't, you know, sing the song because it's not my voice. And, like, you know, they might sing it way higher than me or way lower. And I was just kind of like, man, I really need to start singing my own hooks, you know? And then so I just, you know, started singing. And I felt like I always had a singing voice because I was singing the choir at church, you know, church roots. But I also was rapping at church. So it was just, like, unheard of at the time. They're like, is he rapping? You know, print out his lyrics. I need to read this. You know what I mean? Like, let me make sure this is Jesus-fied.
Let me make sure this is edifying.
Right. Like, bless these lyrics, you know? So I was doing that, and I was like, okay, I want to start singing. So when I got to LA, I just got that confidence to start singing because no one knew me as a rapper. They didn't know what I was doing. They were just like, hey, get in the booth. And I was like, all right. And I just was singing and it sounded good. And they was like, oh, we going to keep that. And I was like, no. I was just cutting a reference for another singer. And they're like, no, you sound fine. We going to keep you on it. And I'm like, oh, all right. And then I went back home and I texted all my Arkansas friends. I'm like, hey, I just sung on the hook for the first time. They're keeping it. Like, what? And that was like a really big thing. Funny. So after that, I was like, okay, I started doing like more like singing stuff. And then like I would like sing and then rap on the bridge. And then, you know, the rapping started kind of taking a little back seat because I enjoyed singing. And then finally, like what we have now is just like an evolution of like rapping and singing. And like I'm just working on like this 90s R&B style type of album because I really love 90s R&B. Who doesn't? Early 2000s R&B.
Who are some of your favorite artists from there?
Oh man, John B. I love the songwriters too from that era. Tim and Bob, they were some crazy songwriters from the 90s. They actually wrote like my favorite song, which is They Don't Know About Us by John B. Tim and Bob wrote that record. And man, I used to play that song over and over and over and over. And when I met Bob, I was like, dude, they also wrote the Thong Song, by the way. Like,
that's crazy.
Like,
yeah. Who else have you gotten to meet?
Too many people, bro. Like, the only people that I feel like on my bucket list that I haven't met that I was like, man, I would love to meet them is probably like Lil Wayne and like Nicki Minaj. But
okay.
Well,
you got name dropped the people you met.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I met Scooter Braun, I've met Usher, I've met all the SoundCloud rappers at that time. Like, Lil Uzi, like Lil Xan, like Lil Pump, like that whole era, like of LA was just like partying and nonstop. So it was just kind of like, I even hate name dropping. Like, this is so like,
I know, but I'm asking you so you ain't gotta feel like all weird about it,
Yeah, but no, there was just like a time in like 2018 and 2019, LA was different.
Everybody was there, yeah.
Oh, it was different. You could bump into anybody, bro. Like, it was just like a lot of partying, and like everybody would be there, and like
now it's Zombieland,
bro.
Yeah, it's pretty
I've
bad.
archived my Instagram, but like, I'm like, dude, when I just go through my archives, like pictures of like me with like literally everybody at every situation. But I was always known as a songwriter. They're like, oh, that's Rhyan, the songwriter. Oh, you need a song, go to Rhyan. You need a song, go to Rhyan.
Yeah.
So like all their managers would be like connecting with me, and like they would be trying to put me in the room, and like that's kind of how it would go down. And like certain times I would go and then have the time of my life, and then I'm like, oh wait, we didn't do anything. Like we got no music done. You know what I mean? So it was just kind of like one of those things. But then I started getting more serious, and I'm like, towards the end of 2018, I'm like, okay, I need to start like making sure we come out of here with something. We can't. It was just like we would go to the studio, drink, like have fun, that type of thing. And then nothing would get happen. We just playing music on aux. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, hey, it's too many of us to be in here just playing aux. I need to be, get in the booth, dog. So I started doing that more, and then I started coming back with demos and stuff. And then I really met the majority of my like celebrity clientele, quotation marks, is when I was working with this company called Avex Publishing. And I did that for like a year straight, and I was just writing demos for everybody. Like, man, we were doing demos for like The Weeknd. We did demos for BTS. We did demos for like just so many. They have a file with a folder that says Rhyan Besco, and I promise you, it's like over like 1,000 songs in that thing.
That's
like,
crazy.
It's just like, and I don't even.
How long did it take you to write a song?
That's the problem. We were doing it in like 3 minutes a song. Like I would go in the booth and I would like come out with a song like that, and like they were so just like impressed. And
how do you do that?
I don't know. It was really a gift. You know what I mean? Like I just like.
And when you say a song, like you talking like
hook, verse, like bridge, the whole thing.
That's crazy.
And especially if I'm working with like another songwriter who's like really good at melodies, like the lyrics, bro. You tell me a topic, and I'm like, all right, here you go. Like do, and we were just like churning them out like left and right and left and right. So that's kind of how I did it. But it also was like, again, another strict situation where at the time I wasn't allowed to make any outside contact with any of the people that we were meeting. So like, they were very like serious about that. Like if they come to the studio, if they ask like, yo, for your number, or like, hey man, we should do it. I'll be like, all right, I'll have the producer send it over with everything. You'll have the demo, Like I wasn't allowed to like, connect that deep with them. And, which was like fine, you know what I mean? Because it was just what we were doing at the time, and I was just trying to put in my hours, And eventually all that led to me meeting a guy named David from Warner, and I had a meeting with him, and I said, yo, like I'm trying to take this serious, dog. And he brought me to his office, and he was like, what do you need?
Wait, and this is just still in LA?
Still in LA. Okay, yeah. So like after all that, I like, did that whole year with Avex. I came out of it. I was wanting to be an artist, but honestly, they didn't see me as an artist. They saw me as a songwriter, which I get it. I just gave you 1,000 songs. Like,
bro, you sound like. have you watched the Kanye West documentary?
Which one? The Genius one?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you feel like you relate to that?
So much. Like him walking into the office, like playing his music, and no one like.
Yeah, because he was known as a producer, but he didn't want to be known as a producer. Everyone labeled him as a producer. But he was doing like crazy stuff on the back end, for real, like crazy stuff.
Making the Luda records at the same time.
Crazy. But no one saw him as a rapper.
No, and no one
couldn't get signed. Yeah,
that's what it was. No one saw me as an artist, even though I was still doing artistry on the side. And I remember like after the Avex thing, after the Warner thing, I had some managers for my songwriting, and I told them like, hey, I really want to be an artist. I'm going to, put my money towards marketing for this record. I'm going to do a deal with Champion. We're going to do a like release party, like da-da-da. They didn't believe me. They were like, I don't see that happening. Like, dog, like, you're a songwriter. Like, you shouldn't, do that. And then when I did it, they were like, yo, I'm sorry. Like, and I'm just like, it's fine. Like, it hurt that you doubted, but like at the same time, like lock in, like, what I'm saying? Like I'm here. So that's kind of what it was, I was just a songwriter, and I understood why, like, I was doing it and doing it very well. And like, I was having a lot of success from it. So like, I get it, but at the same time, it just was not fulfilling. I wasn't feel like I wasn't being called to do that,
Yeah.
And I was starting a lot of careers, and I just couldn't jumpstart mine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn. And I would realize that all these people have full teams behind them. You know what I'm saying? So we would write these records, and oh man, this is probably like one of the most annoying things about being a songwriter at that time, because I didn't have like this big management, scary team around me. This is what was happening a lot. I would meet the artist, go into the studio with the artist, write the song with the artist play it for their manager, and their manager would be like, yeah, that's good, but I got a friend that I want to introduce you to, right? And then they'll send that friend that song that we made and go, can you beat this? And then they'll be like, yeah, man, give me a shot. Like, I'll beat that record. And then they'll go in the booth, and then they'll like, picture on the wall, cook up, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're trying to beat my record that I just like casually did with this artist. And then obviously they'll beat it when you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then I never got the chance to beat their record. But it's just like, my homeboy, I like him more because I know him. We're going to keep it in the family type things. And that's kind of what it was. And that was so annoying.
Yeah.
And the only reason I know that was happening because the manager accidentally left me on the email chain. Like, oh my God. So like I read the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, what? Like I was just so annoyed.
That's slimy. But that sounds like LA, honestly.
Yeah. It is what it is. You just got to like, you got to have tough skin, and you got to like know why you're there. Like at the end of the day, like if you know your why, like nothing can shake you. Like when all that was happening, and even being homeless for a year when I lived out there, it never shook me because I knew my why, and I knew that like that if I wanted to do this, I was going to have to go through the mud. And like being homeless isn't new to any of the songwriters out there.
100%.
They've all done it. They've 100%. All couch surfed. It's a rite of passage. And honestly, after I did it is when I got signed. So it was like, boom, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just like, you need to do that to kind of cut your teeth a little. And obviously if you can avoid it, avoid it. I'm not telling everybody to go out there and be homeless. But like if you can like avoid it. But like, it was just kind of like, yo, the people that I live with and I moved with, everyone's going home. Like, no, it's just not cutting out for people. And I knew that this is where I was supposed to be. And I knew what I was after. And I'm like, know your why. If you don't, then obviously it's easy for you to just, pack up and go. But I knew my why. And I still know my why. You know what I'm saying?
How long were you pushing your own artistry before you actually got signed?
I never gave it a full push until now. Like last year in January, I called my publisher and I told them, I said, I want to be an artist, and like, I don't want to take no more sessions. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I can't do it. Like, I'm getting older. Like, I want to do this. This is my calling. Like, I love songwriting. You can be a songwriter at 35. You can be a songwriter at 40. You can be a songwriter at 50. That door is forever going to be open. But like, for me and this artistry stuff, I'm like, I want to get there now, and I want to be there now, and I want to, live in my purpose now. Like I can always come back to the songwriting thing. And honestly, you could always come back to the artistry thing too. But like what's making me happy, what's fulfilling me right now is being an artist and not being a songwriter. And after that, I had a conversation with some LA friends, and I said, every voice rap challenge. This was like open verse. That was like a big thing. There was like every open verse challenge. I'ma do it. You'll see. Like every time they come across my TikTok, I'ma do it. Like I don't care if it's a big song, a small song, you know, da da da. And then like that's how the Slurpee thing happened. I literally said that and I opened my phone, like couple scrolls, boom, Flo Milli. She's on my.
Yeah, can you explain that whole thing? Because obviously I'm looking at you with the Slurpee chain over here.
Shout out to the Slurpee team.
You know what's funny too on that? So my wife's brother-in-law, my brother-in-law.
Right.
So it's my wife's brother.
Right, that's your brother.
Yeah. His name, he used to go by Lil Slurpee.
Wow.
It's like his fun rap name or whatever. So he would like produce songs and stuff. And actually, he got contacted by 7-Eleven and they sent him like this limited edition Slurpee encased in like a glass thing. It was crazy. He's from here too.
Wow, what's his name?
He goes by Matthew Music now. Yeah. But I'll show you his music.
No,
but it was
connect.
Like it was all like a parody type music.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, he's way younger. Like he probably it's like 20 now.
Right.
Yeah.
Even better. Like
yeah.
What the funny thing is when I was talking to them, Slurpee, I'm like, there's no 7-Eleven in Arkansas. Like, fix it. Like, you know, I'm like, you know, but anyway. But yeah, how that came about is I was scrolling on my For You page. I see Flo Milli and she's like, hey, here's my song, Anything Flows. I'm doing an open verse challenge. If I like you, I'll put you on the remix. Go. And I still have the screenshot and I sent it to the Slurpee team after they picked me. And I'm like, y'all have no idea the type of like manifestation I've been on, bro. I took a screenshot and I sent it to my LA friends. I'm like, should I do this? Because it was kind of like, you know, when you say you're going to do something and then like it's time to do it, you kind of like, should I do this right now? You know what I mean? And so that's kind of what it was. Like, you know, I still was, you know, I had doubt, you know, like I just been a songwriter this whole time. Like, is this artistry really for me? I was still doubting myself.
You said this was last year?
Last year.
And we just went through COVID.
Right.
So,
right. We just went through COVID, been in the house, especially in LA.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Shut down.
Yeah.
Shut down.
I can't imagine. Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, all right, you know, so I sent that to them hoping that they would give me like a confidence boost. And they're just like, if you don't get your butt in that studio and go nuts. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And then I did it like a day later.
Posted it to TikTok?
I posted it to TikTok.
Okay.
A day later, the Slurpee team messaged me on Instagram and they were just like, hey, I'm not confirming anything. We just want to see if it's okay to repost you on our socials. Like, we just want to get more attention on it. You know, that type of thing. I'm like, cool. Yeah, it's fine. Do it. So they posted me on the Instagram channel and I sent that and I'm like, hey, this don't mean nothing, but they just posted your boy on the Instagram channel. You know what I'm saying? So like, that was really cool. And then I heard nothing.
For how long? Months?
Months.
Oh, dang.
Months.
That's a long time for the internet.
Right.
That's a really long time.
No,
I mean, because honestly,
people thought like, go ahead.
If you would have waited just like a couple of weeks is a long time on the internet, you know, so months is like, I mean, you might as well forget about it.
Yeah.
Nothing's happening.
I was continuing my year on like it didn't happen. I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I have this song coming out. I have this video with it. I'm going to do this and this and that. I'm like, that is in the back of my mind at this point. I'm like, it was cool. I'm not really checking my phone about it. Like, you know.
Wait, so did it do any numbers before? I mean, at this point, like before?
No.
Okay, so it was just like quiet online. It
was just like, I posted it. It probably had like 800 views, but on like that was on TikTok.
Yeah.
On Instagram is a different story. Like I have an audience on Instagram. So like, I don't know if this work. I'll give y'all some sauce. I don't know if this will work. I don't know if this is one of the reasons, but I'm just going to speak what happened and then y'all make your own assumptions. I love social media and like, I don't know how to, you know, bring the viral attention.
Yeah.
But I do know how to get the attention of people that like really matter. Right.
Yeah.
So for instance.
So you know how to build a community.
Right.
Yeah.
When I posted the Slurpee video, I also shared it on LinkedIn. Right. And I started tagging the actual workers of people that worked at 7-Eleven. One of the presidents like saw my LinkedIn post, reshared it to his profile and was like, love to see everyone getting hyped. This guy did really amazing. I really like it. Post. Boom. Now, I don't know. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
that was it.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So after that happened, you know, I'm like, hey, this guy shared it. You know, so I'm like, okay, so at least somebody has seen it. That's all I really cared about. At least somebody's seen it. Because I was thinking bigger picture anyway. I'm like, I don't got to win this competition. I'd rather like just do a partnership with them in the future, you know, because I'm really good with brand collabs. So I'd rather just do something cool with them down the line. Like, you know what I'm saying? Good luck to whoever wins it.
Let me pause you right there right quick. Yeah. I've never heard of an artist being on LinkedIn. What were you doing on LinkedIn?
Yo, you know, I hate to segue and go back around, but I created a LinkedIn account in 2016 when I moved to LA. And this is what I was doing. Again, don't try this at home. I'm not telling you that any of this worked. I'm just telling my story. You know, just telling my story. I used to in LA. Oh my God. I've told this on a podcast before, but never on a camera. So this is like really funny. I used to look up the workers at labels. So you're all on LinkedIn, and you're proud of it. Love it
because corporate life.
Corporate life. It's mostly 88% of people on LinkedIn. Corporate life. They're all like just trying to more. You know what I'm saying? If not more. Very rarely would an artist, like you said, be on LinkedIn, like looking around. You know, it's like a small percentage of people. They're there. You know, but so I was looking, and I'm like, oh, you work at this label, you work at that label. So then, oh my God, I would go to these labels and act like I had a meeting with those people.
That's so funny.
Right? Crazy. It worked every time except one place. And I'll tell you that place because like shout out to that place. Like, you know, like cool. And I'm telling you what anyway, I would go and be like, hey, I have a meeting today with such and such. And they would be like, okay. So then they would ask that person like, hey, such and such is here for your meeting. That person 9 times out of 10 would be like, I don't have a meeting today. Like, what? But because it's LA, they would rather forget that they scheduled a meeting than pass on it and I actually be somebody. And that was a huge like thing. So like I was doing that a lot and a lot of people were taking the bait like, oh, and I'm like, where did I meet you at? I'm like, oh, I saw on Instagram you were at such and such party. Like say for instance, like Spotify threw a party. I always knew how to get to those because a lot of my friends used to work those parties because they would hire like third party apps to hire these people to work those parties that I was always friends with. So they would always sneak me through the back. They would always sneak me in those rooms. Sometimes we would catch people coming out with bracelets and I asked them for their bracelet and we would peel it off their bracelet and kind of stick it on your hand. So we would get in there. We were sneaking in everywhere. And that's kind of what it is. And I'm like, oh, you were at that party and that's where we met. We kind of like bumped passage and I was like, hey, would you be down? You're like, yeah. And they kind of be like, oh, okay. I briefly remember, you know, I show them a picture of like me at that same spot, but I'd never talked to them, you know what I'm saying? It's just plotting, a lot of plotting. And so they're like, okay, so
I think I'm scared for my life right now. You sound too good at this.
Look, if you got to finesse, you got to finesse, but like, you know, safely, responsible finessing. Yeah. And they're like, okay, so like, what did you say you do? I'm like, I'm a songwriter. And then that's how I would start getting sessions and like they would start putting me in those rooms and, you know, yada, yada, yada. But like no one ever decided to like compare stories because like LA's so big and the ego is even bigger. So it's like, all right, cool. Even if like that kid, like I still put him in a session, like I still get to take credit for that, you know what I mean? That type of thing. And I was younger, you know, so it was just kind of like, all right, like what's really happening, you know? So that's kind of what was how we were doing all of that. Okay. So that led me to being on LinkedIn, which then led me to like having a profile all this time and, you know, which led me to being able to find the 7-Eleven guy.
Okay. So months later, months is quiet for months.
Quiet.
Okay.
Planning my music video, everything. The night before I got a follow and it's from a guy named Tyler. Shout out to Tyler. And I look at his bio and like he's working for Slurpee, like Dentoo Creative, like Slurpee. And I'm like, why would he follow me? You know, I'm like looking around and like I'm on the phone with my friend and I'm like, yo, they just followed me. And she goes, you want me to tell you what that means or you want to wait? And I'm like, tell me, like, what you know? You know, she's like, baby, you won. And I'm like, what? Like those were her exact words. And like, homegirl, she's just like, baby, you won. And I'm like, there's no way. Like, I'm checking my email. I'm checking notifications. Like, I don't have nothing. And so I'm like,
wait, what was was there a prize for winning or any type?
You got to be on the remix, and you get to. They flew me to New York to shoot a video for it, like a whole package.
Wait, no, wait. Yeah, tell me about the actual response first before we get there. Yeah.
So sorry, I'm probably a bad storyteller.
No.
So I wake up in the morning and nothing happens. And it's like 11 a.m. I'm in LA. And then finally I get an email from this Tyler guy. And he's like, wanted to congratulate you by now. You've probably already seen it. Congrats. Would love to know if you could, if these dates work for you, you know, da-da-da-da. And I was like, congratulations on what? You know, and I'm like checking Instagram. No one said anything. TikTok, there's no, I'm like, how do you know? Like, what are you talking about? Hours go by. I don't respond to this guy because I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to like, you know, I thought you sent the wrong message. Like, I thought I wasn't supposed to get that message.
Okay.
Again, self-doubt.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
this ain't for me. You know, so I left it alone. I'm like, I think they just accidentally sent it to me. And then I go check my junk folder just randomly because I just check my junk folder. There's my message from Dentsu and 7-Eleven congratulating me on winning the whole thing. And it goes, if you don't respond within 48 hours, you automatically forfeit, you know? And this was like the same day, hours later. And I was like, what? If Tyler would have never sent me that message, I never would have checked my junk. Never. And I was like,
that's crazy.
Whoa. You know what I'm saying? And so after that, it was a whirlwind of like emotions and like scheduling. They're like, hey, this is a Friday. Can you be to New York this Monday, actually? And I'm like, Friday, you know? And so they took care of everything. And
that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It was
so you got to do music video?
Yeah, I did the whole remix, the whole shebang. And it was really cool, man.
Okay.
Like, it was a year-long campaign. They like kind of told me all the details. They put out the official remix, and they did a whole like campaign around it, and it was just awesome, man. And it was like me, Flo Milli, and a bunch of other dope artists that like Maya the Dawn and Too Rare and like all those people. Like it was
that's
just
crazy.
Dope. Yeah.
Did you? So what were all of the things that you won? So you won you got the remix song. You went on the music video. What was like the year following that for you? And even like on just your own personal growth, like with your own music, was there some elevation there?
Oh, dude, I was like, everybody's watching now. Let me turn up the heat now.
Yeah.
Like now's like the perfect time. So again, we filmed all that in like, I'm probably getting my months mixed up. We probably filmed all that in like July, maybe. And then it didn't come out till like the end of August.
What year is this?
Last year.
Okay.
Yeah. So like then that happened. And then September, I'm like doing podcast interviews. And October, we're like planning. And then I get a phone call like at the end of October. Like this is like maybe the 26th of October. And they're like, hey, Flo wants you to open up for her show in Brooklyn next week. I'm like, she wants me to do what? Like, yeah, like, will you do it? And I'm like, you know.
How many people at this show?
Oh, she probably had like 1,000. Like it was at the Brooklyn Steel. So it was probably like a good, I don't know, 800 to like 1,000 capacity. Like it was nice. And I flew to New York again, and I opened up for her, and it was crazy. It was crazy. It was like, I have never been in a room with that many beautiful women. Like her fans are like, the most beautiful. I'm talking like, just pretty. Like,
different cultures are all
black girls, white girls, Mexican girls. Like they just all just. I'm like, what? And the tall ones, skinny ones, like, you know, thick ones. Like I just.
That's
I was
so funny.
Just kind of like, man. And then like for every 10 girls, there was like maybe like one dude, and like, you know, maybe he was just coming with his girl, or I don't know, but like it was just like a sea of. I'm just kind of like, man, they're all here to see Flo Milli, and like that's just a testament to how like empowering she is, and I don't even know if she knows that all the way. Like all these women are here because you make them feel something, and I knew at that moment like my job is to make them like get ready for that energy that she's going to bring, you know, and like, that's kind of like what I want to do. I want to interact with them. I want to like, you know, get them hype, you know, and they accepted me really well. And it just like, it was just awesome. It was just like a great interaction. Yeah. And then honestly, there was like this one funny moment that I knew like, hey, like this crowd's hilarious. I bought a lot of Flo Milli's merch. So I went to the front stand before the show, and I like copped like 4 t-shirts and like 2 hoodies. And I was throwing them out during our Slurpee song because they wanted me to perform the Slurpee song, obviously. So I do the Slurpee song, and like during my song, I'm throwing them out. I toss a hoodie to this girl who's like vibing the whole time. She's like really dope. I'm like, obviously people want the hoodies more. So I'm like, all right, she's vibing. I toss her the hoodie. Out of nowhere, I just see this long hand, Michael Jordan, reach up in the sky, grab it down, and just bear snug it. And I hear a bunch of girls go, like just like a collective, And I look, and this guy just kind of like, I thought he was throwing it to me. And I was like, I was not throwing you that.
Yeah.
And we just laughed. And I was like, hey, like, I'll make it right. You know, like after my set, like I'll make sure to like get you, you know, something else. So I went back to Flo, like right before she went on stage. And I told her what happened. I was like, yo, will you sign this hoodie for her? And she's like, oh, like for sure. Like, you know, like she's like, that's really nice of you. Like, that's dope that you did that. And I was like, yeah, you know. So she signed it, and I bring it to the girl, and they're just like, oh, and I'm like, yo, the girls are awesome. Like, you know, you're just that type of like collective, like, yeah, you know, and that's kind of like where I was like, all right, this is dope. Yeah, so that happened after that. Then after the show, I get approached by a cameraman named Calvin. Shout out to Calvin. He's from On the Radar, right? And he goes, hey, man, you had a really good set. And I looked, and I'm like, yo, thanks, man. Who are you with? You know, because you have a, you know, photography, you know, He's like, oh, I'm the official photographer from On the Radar. My eyes got wide. I said, On the Radar? Like, what? He's like, yeah, we're all here. Gabe's upstairs. Dang. Gabe's upstairs? I said, will you introduce me to him? Like, will you, like, take me to Gabe? And he goes, honestly, like, yeah, but you got to give me a second. And then I was like, you know what? That's not your job. You're a photographer. I got my manager here. Mike, let's go. And like, we like walk upstage, and I see Gabe there, like spotted him, bro. And like, he's having a great time too. Like, you know, and I walk up to Gabe, and he's like, hey, your set was dope. That Biggie flip, because I did like a Biggie flip like on the stage. He's like, that was smooth. And I was like, man, like, I appreciate you so much. Like, you have no idea. Me and my boys, like, we just sit on the couch and play On the Radar freestyles and da-da-da-da. He said, you got to come on the show, bro. Come on the show. And I was like, there's no way he's inviting me on the show. And I'm like, dude, he's like, hey, text me. Here's my number. Let's get a pic. And I'm like, dude, like, we get a picture. I get his number.
You got to send me the picture.
Oh, I'll show you. And I'm telling Mike, I'm like, hey, like, you know, we need to stay on this, you know, da-da-da. As we're walking by, another gentleman steps up, and his name is John. Shout out to John. And he goes, hey, man, you had a really good set, bro. Like, I was really, like, rocking with you. And I was like, thanks, bro. And then I was about to walk off, and I go, no, that's somebody. Like, I need to connect. Like, I need to, like, my sensors were going off, you know? And I turn back around, and I go, yo, like, what do you do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Who are you? Nice to meet you. I'm Ryan. You know, da-da-da. He goes, I'm John. I'm the head A&R for On the Radar.
What? I
said, this is the guy. Like we if we're gonna get on the radar, like, respectfully, this is the guy. Like, we need to go through John. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, I connect with John, and I'm telling Michael, I'm like, hey, bro, like, this is crazy. You know, we don't gotta blow Gabe up, you know, because like, I know Gabe's busy. You know what I'm saying? Like, John, like, this will be our point of contact. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know what was gonna happen. I just go back to Arkansas. And I was telling Michael, I was like, we should wait a couple days, and then we should hit up John and be like, yo, when can we, like, you know, come back? And then he hit up John, and I was like, man, I hope John remembers us. And then John's like, hey, yeah, we can get you on this date, December, like, come back and we'll do your On the Radar. And I was like, ain't no freaking way, dog.
Bro.
Like, mind you, we're finessing again. Like, we didn't have the budget to keep flying back and forth to New York.
Because you're not signed yet, or are you?
I'm signed publishing wise.
Yeah.
Like, that's just for my songwriting.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the year, I'm like, no more songwriting. So there's no more bags to collect.
Yeah,
like, you know,
yeah.
aside from my publishing checks, but like, I was getting paid for the sessions I was doing. So it was like, oh, like, you're cutting off the bag for this dream? And I'm like, yeah, like, you know, like, I believe in myself that much. So it was like, to fly like me, Mike, Davion, and Mo, to fly all of us, like, that's just a lot.
Yeah,
but we had friends working at the airport that was like hooking us up with the low price tickets. So that's how we were able to get back to New York and, like, you know, be able to, like, get something comfortable and, like, you know, that things like that. And we were doing it again. And I'm like, I know this is going to pay off. Like, guys, I know. And then we did the freestyle for them. And then as we're there, John goes, we do projects, right? And I was like, what you mean? He's like, yeah, artists like put out songs together. We do like collabs. Like, it's like an artist thing. I was like, can we do that? He's like, yeah, like, let's do it. Like, and I'm like, okay, dope. And I go on his podcast. We do his podcast. And then he like tells me about the EP thing. And I'm like, let's do it. So he puts me in contact with all the producers. And then like, shout out to Fritz. Fritz will make you dance. You know what I'm saying? So then we did that EP package. And I'm like, nuts. Like all this is going to come together at the same time. And then I think February, again, I'm pretty sure the 26th is when it dropped, the freestyle. And now from then, I think that freestyle video has like 120,000 views right now.
Dang.
Maybe 140, something like that.
Yeah.
Well,
crazy.
But like, again, another push of like people.
What's the name of it?
It's literally just like On the Radar Freestyle Rhyan Besco.
Okay.
Yeah. And like you can just, I'm sure if you just type in Rhyan Besco, you can like, it's in the first video.
Oh, so you were like freestyling on air?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's like with the green room.
100%.
And it says On the Radar. Yeah.
Because they've had like
Drake, Central C, Ice Spice.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of some of the ones I've seen on there. The Baby was crazy on there. I think it was him. I think it was him. And then wasn't Lil Dicky on there?
I have no idea. They've had like
pretty much everybody.
Yeah, they've had some.
Okay,
like, some.
Okay, I'm gonna go check that out.
Oh, dude, please check it out, man. It's awesome. Like one of my like favorite things. You
got to send me all these links after, so I can like put it all in the description. So
like I said, I normally do that, but I'm like, I
have it all in like email, but like I want links.
Got you.
Just so I can plug it all. Everyone can go look at everything. Yeah.
So we did that. And then, I was like, okay, we did the EP together. And then like, I knew that that's what I wanted to transition to. Okay. So I was like singing and I had this record called Wear You Out. And like, that's like when people started like really being like, oh, wait a second. And that was produced by this guy named Sam. Shout out to Sam X. That's the boy. He did all of Four Bats' stuff. That like Four Bats is the guy that did the Come Inside My ABM.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was doing some beats for him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was randomly just talking to him. I had no idea. Like again, like it just fell in my lap, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he was telling me about it. And I'm like, wait, what? You did what? You know? And like it just happened like organically and like, and now like we do beats and like he
is the music community like that? It's just like there's like I know a lot of times with the artists themselves, like they're very like, prideful and things. But with like the people on the back end, are they typically like more humble? Like you're hanging out with them and you're like, you would never know that, they produced this Justin Bieber song or, this person did drums on this big song. Or is it typically like you have to ask to figure it out? Yeah,
like, because I think the thing with the people that are like playing behind the scenes is that they're more comfortable there. Like they're like, all right, I this is where I live my talents to. I don't want to be in the spotlight. A lot of them like don't want to be in the spotlight, which is why they do it for so long and do it so well. Because they're like, I'd rather just stay in the back and collect this stuff behind the scenes than like try to be the front man of anything. So they pretty much live a low key life. Like I have a friend named Ryan Curtis, who's like one of the best like melodic writers I've ever heard in my entire life. He's so cold. You would never know that he has like so many accolades within the K-pop world right now. Like he's just like on fire. Him and Adian, like they both are like just doing incredible. But you kick it with them in person, we're playing Fortnite. They're like, they have their like things like Nintendo. Like they're just
dudes
just
hanging
chilling.
out. They
don't go in public looking to get in the front of the line. You know what I'm saying? They're not trying to like,
trying to flex.
No, they're just like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'm just chilling, And if you ask them and you get in the conversation, then obviously they'll bring it up. But like, nah, like they just chill people. Most people, dude. Pop. There's a production duo named Pop and Oak, and Pop, like one of the coolest guys. Like you would never know he's behind some of the biggest hits. Like whether it's like Kalani or like just Ariana, like anybody.
Wait,
like,
Kalani?
Yeah.
Like Kalani? Like, who you talking about?
Kehlani, yeah. Like,
okay. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure we're talking, because there's two.
The one from, like, Cali, like, she has the songs with Ty Dolla $ign, Justin Bieber.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm trying to make sure. Because there's two Kehlanis that I know who are famous. That one, and there's another one. She's, like, famous from dance, but I don't think it's her.
No. This is, like, the R&B singer, Kehlani.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, like, Ariana Grande, and, like, they're so, like, huge that they work with Lizzo. They work with him, but then at the same time, like, he'll host, like, Sunday cookouts at his house, and, like, or he'll just pull to the studio and just kick it. Like, nobody's ever on that time, because it's a small world. And so, like, everybody is, like, just trying to make it, man. Like, at the end of the day, everybody, they all have the same agenda. They just want to make great music, and they just want to.
When you're hanging around people like that, though, it's cool because you become acclimated with, like, that type of lifestyle. Right. And what I mean is, like, just kind of, you begin to see people who are famous as just like regular people. Mm-hmm. Like, it really doesn't surprise me nowadays. Mm-hmm. Like, there's pretty much, I haven't been around. Actually, I have been around a ton of famous people. And because of that, there's not really anyone I'll be like, just, oh my gosh, about. I'm like, because I know they're a person. Mm-hmm. And when I hang out with them, I know they're like eating Starburst and like Doritos. Yeah. And they like watching movies at home, binge watching just like I do with their spouse when they have time. Just because of like high profile people doesn't mean they're not human.
Right.
And I think people forget about that. Or it's culture. Just completely like foreign to them. Mm-hmm. Like, they just can't imagine, oh my gosh, Taylor Swift in the same room. I'm like, it's just Taylor Swift. You know what I mean? I'm sure she wants you to treat her like a person. Yeah. Because that's the other part too. Like, once you begin to experience some of that, and you're like, maybe like, let's say you have one famous friend. You're around them all the time, and everybody just coming up and treating them like a photo op. Mm. And you just see that over and over. And you can see like they're so kind. And you're like, man, whenever I meet the next famous person who, you know, I've looked up to, I'm not going to treat them like that. Instead, I'm going to go up and like actually have a conversation with them. Mm-hmm. Hi, how are you? I'm a big fan of your work. Like, I'm not going to be like all, because that's like not a human connection. Right. And it's annoying. Like, I'm sure it gets so annoying for them.
Yeah. I also, one of my things that I was doing in LA, I was helping influencers get brand deals. Mm. So I was friends with a lot of the big influencers at the time, like of the TikTok era, like the 2020 era. So like, there's like this team called the Sway House and like the Hype House. And,
I know all those people. That's crazy.
So like, like all those people and different influencers that I was just like cool with, and like just being around as like I said, the songwriter, and because a lot of them were doing music anyway, so like I was like in the studio with a lot of them, so they were getting like swarmed a lot, and like that was overwhelming for them, and like I can only imagine what it would be like for like, you know, some of the bigger artists that like I've been around, like what they're actually thinking, and like you know, it was just mayhem, like you know, it just that type of stuff is real.
Yeah. Have you had like any type of experience with anything even similar to that from the art that you create? The music you create?
You know, I get messages a lot, like just from different people around the world about certain songs. Mm-hmm. I've been with people when they've been swarmed, but like not anything like with me that would like incite a riot or incite like
not even like multiple people. I'm just saying like maybe you're walking in the mall and like someone recognizes you.
Dude, here all the time. Like my hometown, like that's like a thing, and it was happening a lot in LA, but then the world shut down. Like 2019 was like peak Rhyan in LA. Like I'm everywhere, like everywhere, and then all of a sudden 2020 happens and it just shuts down. Like you can't do anything. Like, like no, shut down. Yeah. So like, like it was, I felt like it was, you know, happening like where everyone was getting recognized and everyone was stepping out and things of that nature. But
how do you feel when it happens? Because I want to talk about that for a second. Because there's not, I have some thoughts about it, but how do you feel like when people come up to you? And keep in mind, the fans are watching.
Right. No, I don't mind it as long as we're having a conversation. Yeah. You know, like I feel like if anybody, also I feel like it's a little different because I'm 6'4". So like a lot of the times, like I'm kind of like, oh, what's up? You know what I mean? Like, you know, a lot of times people are like, I don't really feel like bombarded because like I still have a lot of space. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like easy to like get inside of my personal space because I'm so much bigger. You know what I mean? So like I've always just had like a easy like conversation, look people in the eye, like shake their hand, like, you know, yeah, what's up? Like I'm always having the conversation with them. So when people have came up to me and asked me for photos or like, you know, a conversation, you know, I'm very like, just like how we're having a conversation, like, yo, what's up? Like, you know, like, tell me about yourself. Like, what do you do? You know what I mean? I'm always curious. And my favorite question is asked like, what have you heard? And like, what, like how did you find me? You know what I mean? Like, what songs like you connected to? Like, you know, tell me your story. Cause I'd love to hear those different things, you know?
I mean, that literally sounds like you're able to have a conversation.
Yeah.
That's a lot more realistic. So like, since I've been back in Arkansas, I've kind of had a couple of these experiences. And also, you know, I'm just now realizing too that it's completely different because all the people who know me are from like children content online that went crazy.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people who come up to me are like kids. And so I don't get to have that conversation. You know, like.
Which is a different demographic.
Yeah. And also the other thing too is like music touches people in a different way. Like than any other content, literally any other content. And so like if someone heard your music and they came up to you and they're introducing themselves or like, hey, you can more than likely just assume that it emotionally affected them in some way. So you can ask that question. With video content, it's not always like that, right? Like you're creating YouTube videos, you're creating whatever. It's not always like that. Right. Now, like the podcast is becoming a little bit more recognized, but even now, like it's not about. Typically, like the questions are like, "Oh, dude, I love the podcast. I love the different people," which is obviously what it's about. It's about promoting people, like you know what you do and all that stuff. So I'm able to have more conversations, which makes it a lot better. So if you're someone who's coming up and you want to have a conversation, please come up. Let's have a conversation.
Right,
but
we should do that.
Just I don't know. I felt like a little bit more recently, I've just kind of had it be weird with friends.
Right.
Like fans coming into my life, trying to secretly be my friend. And then I find out like they're a fan because whenever we hang out, it's like a dude, they're just fanboying. And I'm like, dude, come on.
Well, how do you feel about like the kids coming up to you? Because like that's like you said, that's such a different ball game. You kind of always got to be nice to the cheering.
Yeah, it's weird.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's weird.
Like,
it's weird because okay, first of all, let me lay the foundation. We are in Fort Smith.
Right.
There are only it's 16% black people here. So most of the people who are running up to me are little white kids away from their parents because they run up so quick that they leave their parents. So I'm painting this scenario. We're in a mall. We're at church. I'm at a park in the middle of nowhere. I'm out here walking. And like this kid just runs up to me and all his parents see is like the little white kid running up to this black dude with dreads and they don't know what to make of it.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I always have to like reassure the parent, like, it's okay. I'll explain. Like, this is probably what they know me from, you know? And then they're like, oh, okay. Can they get a picture? Can I get an autograph? Like, yeah. But it's like weird because you don't know what the parent.
Right.
Because like, you know, I don't want to be.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. But the best interactions are when the parent come up first.
Right.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So like the kid will be like, hey,
to what their kids are
like
watching.
I think I know that person. Can you play? Like, can you go? Can you ask? And so the parent will be like, hey, my kid thinks you're this person from this content.
Are you?
Yeah. Yes, I am. Okay. Can they please get a picture with you? Can they please whatever? And that's like, because then I'm able to have a conversation with the parents. Yeah. And so I like that.
Yeah. But that's, again, like...
But also that's like unrelatable. So I can't really talk about this stuff much to anyone else because no one has experienced those type of interactions. Most people haven't.
I used to have like a kid type of reaction, or like little kids used to like know me from when I was doing like a lot of charity work. I was like around that a lot. So it was kind of when I was doing shows in Fort Smith before I moved, I was doing a lot of coat drives and canned food drives at my shows. So like if we're charging $5 at the door. I'd be like, if you bring like 5 canned goods or 10 canned goods, you get in for free. Or like,
that's dope.
If you donate a coat, you get in for free. You know, we would just take it down and like donate it. So like
that's a good idea.
Yeah, it was just like, you know, I just wanted to always be a part of the community, and like that's kind of one of the driving factors of me, like who I am, like right now. You know, like that's kind of what I do, which we'll get into in a second. But you know, as far as like having the kid audience for you though, like when you feel like you're transitioning into like a different, like a broader horizon, do you feel like you're gonna lose that, or like do you feel like it's like a thing that'll follow you like forever? Like how do you feel?
Well, the kids, I mean,
because you're like kind of like
it makes money. That's the thing. Like kids content makes stupid money. You're talking about stupid amounts of audiences.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like the kid content. So I had been working on my own content for years, and I had grown it to like maybe like YouTube subscribers, maybe like 5,000, you know, 6,000 by myself. And then I started doing, you know, this content with these other creators that blew up. And dude, I'm talking like within 30 days, we would go from 5,000 to 14K.
Wow.
So like, and it keeps growing every single month. And I haven't been, it's actually kind of like shocking. I don't know what to do with the content because I'm like, I don't want to make content for y'all. Because I was just doing that. I just don't want to make that type of content.
Right.
I'm here to make content for adults, you know.
I feel you.
But if I still do appreciate the interactions that I do get with the kids. Like if they find it inspirational at all or whatever. I'm not sure how they perceive it because a lot of times they're not able to actually talk to me.
Right.
But I'd be curious.
Maybe you could like pivot it or like pass it down or create an avatar or something where you don't have to like show your face as much. Bro, or like
listen, you know, I already have a cartoon character I've already paid for. Little black dude with dreads.
There it is.
Yeah. But it's too much money to get into. It's too much money. I was gonna be the Fort Smith Little Bill. You know?
Oh, that would have been nuts. You can still do that with some sponsors. We gonna get some sponsors in here. All right, we gonna make that happen. They need to see something like that.
That's so funny.
That would be nuts. Yeah. They need to see something.
Wait, so I got two things.
Yeah,
I want to ask, and then before we wrap up, one, when did you come back to Fort Smith, and then in that tie in to what you're actually doing now?
Right. Okay. So when I made the decision to become a full-time artist, I knew LA wasn't going to be the place to, I guess, incubate that. You know, like it just wasn't a space to harvest and grow that. As a songwriter, I could have stayed and like done it forever. But as an artist, you need a community, you need a home base, you need something to tie into. Also, I'm looking around, nobody's moving to LA anymore. Like every artist that was popping off between COVID and now, they're staying in their hometowns. Like Lotto never moved to LA. Jack Harlow never moved to LA. I mean, Flo Milli never moved to LA. Like they're treating it like a place of work, like BX The Plug, Mexican OT, like all these artists that are like popping right now. It used to be you pop, move to LA, go crazy. But now it's like they keep their home base and they're just like, all right, I'll treat that like a place of work. I'll treat this like a place of work. So I was talking to my best friend, Terrell, who I was rooming with. And I'm like, okay, I want to start spending more of my time in Arkansas. I want my best friend to be my manager. I want my home team to like do all this, like, and it's all in Arkansas right now. And so if it's okay, respectfully, I'd like to, you know, do that. And obviously he was just like, do what you got to do. Like, you know, I'm here, I'll hold down for however long we need to hold it down, like whatever. So I still go back to LA, but like for the most part, I try to spend my time here, which I will show you exactly what I'm trying to do. I brought some physical stuff to show you.
Dope. Okay.
So one of the things that we're working on right now.
Wait. I can't hear you very well.
Oh, sorry.
So I'll let you pull it out first. But he was saying one of the things that he's working on now.
Okay. So one of the things that we've been working on, I've been calling it with my team, called the Riverboy Activation. And so what we're trying to do is like create a thing, because we have a show coming up November 30th at Temple Live. November 30th, Temple Live, Rhyan Besco, Sphinx Club. November 30th, Temple Live. So before all of that happens, I want to do this thing called the Riverboy activation. And I'm reintroducing my city to my brand, which is Riverboy. When I left, I didn't have this. I moved to LA and I saw everybody coming to LA, but like we're in the place everybody wants to be, but people were wearing like OVO hats, like repping Canada. People were repping all over the place. You know, it's just this melting pot. And I'm like, I'm proud of where I came from. This is like something that I've always wanted to do. I've never wanted to run from my hometown. I feel like a lot of people do that. They feel like, there's nothing for me here. Like I want to leave. I want to leave. I only left because I knew I couldn't do Rhyan Besco here.
You couldn't start it here.
I couldn't start it here. Yeah. I already tried, and I had hit my ceiling. I've had my music on Kisser 93 before I left. I sold out the King Opera House in Van Buren. Like I had did all the stuff, and I hit the cap. And I'm like, there's nothing I could do right here, right now. I need to like spread my wings and go get it here. But the plan was to always go to LA, get what I needed, and then like set up shop back home. You know, like because Riverboy. So what is Riverboy? Arkansas obviously has the river. Like multiple rivers, Arkansas River. We're called the River Valley. You know, a lot of people know us as that. Riverboy just made sense. Like my initials, Rhyan Besco, RB, Riverboy, also Razorbacks, RB. Like it just made sense to be like Riverboy. All of my friends, we call each other Riverboy. We also say Wody a lot. So like collectively, I call us River Wodies. Like, you know, River Boy,
I like
River
that
Girl.
name.
You know what I'm saying?
You should call your fan club that.
That's what I call them.
Okay.
Like, the fan club is called River Wodies.
Yeah.
And you could be like a River Boy, River Girl, River They, Them, whatever you identify as. And I knew that for me to successfully launch this, I would need to be with the local businesses. I would need to go local again and like be like, hey, I want to do all this Riverboy stuff with you guys. So I came up with this plan with me and my closest like 9 friends like here. And I'm like, let's do this together. So here we have the Riverboy business plan for the local pizza shop, which you know a lot about, Vinny's Pies, which is how this all got down. So I want to do the Riverboy pie with Vinny's Pies. And then I want to do the Riverboy shot with Amigos Bar.
Oh, that's dope.
And then with Evans Boys and Girls Club, we want to do a charity kickball game. And then like me and my team will be coaches and we'll coach some kids like 9 to 13. And then like we'll do that and we'll raise money for Evans Boys and Girls Club. And like all proceeds go back to Evans. Yeah. You know, we make some donations and stuff like that. And I also want to do this thing called the Find Your Flow panel. The Riverboy slogan is Find Your Flow. Like, you know, obviously with the water, find your flow. And that's pretty much find what makes you you. Find your current, find the direction that you want to go, find your flow. And I want to host a Find Your Flow panel in November where I invite 6 of my closest industry friends, some people from different platforms. I don't want to say because I don't want to jinx it, but just know if you've been listening, you could imagine who I'm inviting to come speak at this panel at UFIS. And we're partnering up with one of the fraternities there to have it at the Reynolds Room. And all this is happening between September and November.
Oh, dope. This year?
This year.
Okay.
Are we doing this?
Yeah. Get on it.
So hopefully by the time that this even comes out, maybe we can coordinate it. Like stuff will already be like happening. But yeah, so we're going to do the panel. We're going to speak to the public, you know, college students, whoever want to come. And you can hear it from 6 other individuals, how they found their flow and how they got in the game and what made them. I would love for you to come out, bro.
That'd be dope.
We got some connecting. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Oh, wait, on camera, bro. You could, I don't know, moderate it if you want. I'm looking for a moderator. I was just gonna do it and be like, I'll be the moderator, you know, because I didn't really know anybody, but like we'll talk about camera. But dude, that would be dope. Anyway. So we're doing all of that. And the goal is to, again, put some inspiration back into the city, like plant some seeds, create another flow river, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and then
for sure.
get people motivated and excited about what we have going on, you know? And then after that, you know, go on the road, go on tour, but always have this place of like activation. Like, this is the hometown, and I want people here to be proud of Rhyan Besco, and I want people here to be inspired. I want to hope that they can look at this and look at you as well, and look at all the people that are like creating and finding their flow and be like, okay, this is my time to go do that. I want to do what Joe's doing. I want to do what Ryan's doing. I want to do what whoever's doing it, and they know they can do it. Because that's one of the problems with like coming from a small town.
Yeah, for sure. Or a small state. Like
a small state.
Yeah.
A lot of people haven't seen it, and it's hard to believe what you've never seen. And, you know, that's what people were telling me when I was, you know, coming up and I wanted to do all this stuff that I'm doing now. They never seen it. So like, how could you do it? What do you mean you're moving to LA? You know, the synopsis was I was supposed to be back in 6 months, but they had no idea that God already told them how long I'm going to be there. You know, they said, oh, he'll be back in 6 months max. I was, you know, still out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, like no one can put a cap on you. You know what I'm saying? Like God can. And if you partner with God with your plans, then there's no cap.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't ask, you know, my mom or my friends or my siblings how long or what they thought. I talked to God about that. And I said, this is my heart. This is what I want to do. Can we go do this? You know?
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
And so it shall be. So it's just kind of like, that's kind of where my motivation came from. And like the city of like, I felt wasn't a lot of hope and a lot of inspiration that I could look for, you know? I had to go create it, but it was instilled in me, and I knew that this is what I wanted to do. So now if I can come back and instill it back into the 8-year-old who might be watching this, or the 12-year-old, 16-year-old, the 20-year-old, the 25-year-old, the 40-year-old, you know, whoever needs to hear the message, I hope they hear it and they receive it and they know that they can do whatever they do, you know, whatever you want to do. This isn't, you know, some cheat code, you know, it's just hard work, dedication, and organization. You put it together, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. All right, I got one last question for you. One last question.
Yeah.
So it's a really important question.
Hit me.
Drake or Kendrick?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Rhyan Besco, and I had a great time with this podcast. Arkansas Minds, ladies and gentlemen.
Drake, OVO.
This Arkansas mind knows better. This Arkansas mind knows better.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Okay, can you let the people know where your socials are, where they can go find you, and for all the stuff you're doing?
Yeah. Everything at Rhyan Besco, RHYAN BESCO. You can look up Riverboy Music Group. Anything in there. I'm pretty much everywhere on all platforms that you want to go look. I had to redo my Twitter. So I have a new Twitter. So if you go there.
What Twitter is, but okay.
Yeah, X, sorry.
Okay. I know what that is. Okay.
The kids are calling it X. Back in my day, it's called Twitter. You know, I'm on X with Rhyan Besco. There's like 100 followers. So like the account's, you know, barely active, but it's there if you guys want to go there. YouTube, Rhyan Besco, Instagram, Facebook, all the platforms that you could ever, you know, want to be on. Snapchat, just Rhyan Besco. I want to shout out Rachel for connecting us.
Yeah, for sure.
She's one of my girls, man. Like, been rocking with me from the beginning. Like,
yeah, she was cool.
Never, not once, made me feel like I couldn't do it. Anytime I talk to her, I just feel like I could go to the moon, you know? So for her to even like do that, she knew. She was just like, hey, Ryan, this is happening. Lock in. And I'm like, all right, I'm here. You know what?
Yeah.
I call her the Queen of Fort Smith. You know, so whatever she says goes, you know, so I'm just kind of like.
So Rachel, if you're still listening, comment in the comment section below.
Yes, she will.
Yeah. Put some emoji microphones.
Right. Yeah. No, she
actually, for everybody who's still listening at a minute and about an hour and 25 and some change.
Nice.
If you're still listening, put a microphone emoji in the comment section.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. Appreciate it, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.